Test 4 will be coming up soon. I want to go through a few items with you concerning the test and how to get ready for this test. Many of the items in our list are self-explanatory. I will spend a little time on some of these to make sure you understand what is being asked here. First item has to do with operations with fractions. So make sure you can perform your 4 basic operations with fractions and mixed numbers. We also have an item here about comparing fractions. This means to be able to express fractions in an inequality form. So is one fraction less than another one, or is it greater than the other one? So you're comparing with inequalities. The second item, model a multiplication of fractions using an array or area model. This is just asking you to be able to model a multiplication problem with fractions. The third item, draw a pictorial representation of decimal numbers using the flat as 1. We practiced this in class using the base 10 blocks. Make sure you know the symbols for the base 10 blocks, and then once you are given the symbol for 1, then be able to use the base 10 blocks to represent a decimal number. The next thing, know place values. I think that's self-explanatory. The next item, tell when a fraction will terminate or repeat in decimal form. A fraction will terminate in decimal form when the prime factors of the denominator are only 2 or 5, or a combination of 2 and 5. The decimal form of a fraction will repeat when the denominator has any prime factor other than 2 or 5. So for instance, a denominator of 6, the prime factorization is 2 times 3. Because of the 3 there, we know that the decimal form will repeat. So if the prime factorization of the denominator contains any prime number other than 2 or 5, the decimal form will repeat. The next item here has to do with operations with decimals. Also compare decimals. Again, we're talking about comparing using inequality symbols, less than or greater than. You had a worksheet in which to do this. Also be able to round decimals and be able to round to a specific place. So you know the place values, and so you'll be able to round to the various places. The last item on this page, change into and out of scientific notation. I think that's self-explanatory. The first item on this page, solve simple proportion problems. We've also practiced this in class. Just make sure you can solve a proportion. Change from fractions to decimals to percents in any order. If I were to give you a decimal, I would expect you to be able to convert it to a fraction and simplify it. Also, I would expect you to convert the decimal to a percent. Or if I were to give you a percent, then you would be able to change this to a decimal and to a fraction. Solve simple percent problems. There are good examples in the notes that you have been given. Know what distinguishes a function from a relation. A relation is just a pairing of elements from the 2 sets, domain and range. A function is a special pairing. With a function, you do not pair an element from the domain with more than one element in the range. If you were to plot points, then no 2 points would be on the same vertical line if you have a function. Think about these ideas. This is also in your notes. The next item, graph ordered pairs. The main problem students have with graphing ordered pairs is they graph them backwards. Make sure you review how to graph ordered pairs. The next two items involve distance and slope. There's a formula for each of these. You need to know the formulas for distance and for slope and be able to compute the distance between 2 points and the slope of the line containing 2 points. The next item, graph a line using the slope-intercept form. That is y equals mx plus b. M is your slope. B is the point on the y-axis where the line crosses. You should be able to take these two quantities and graph the line from them. And the last item has to do with vocabulary. Again, I will not ask you to write the definition of any of these terms that we've had in these chapters, but I do expect you to have a working knowledge so that if a term comes up in a problem, then you know what is being asked of you. The information contained in these 2 pages of the PowerPoint summarize the topics that are covered on this test. Make sure that you review well and that you practice and you are prepared for the test.